Everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another strategy session, the Personal Mastery Training Podcast. I'm your host, Alvin Brown. It's been a minute since I've been back on here, but life was lifing. And I've had a lot go on since the last time we spoke. And I think I just needed that little pause to give myself a little checkup from the neck up. You know what I mean? Because, at this time, I experienced a few major losses in my life. If some of you have been following, if you're new here, in the last year, March 2025, my son lost a battle with cancer, and my oldest son. And obviously, I don't need to explain to anyone what kind of impact that can have on a parent. So, that really, it took the family and myself, obviously, to our knees a little bit. And I pushed through. I did some things. And then I lost my co-host, Dr. Charlie, November 8th, 2025. So it was an interesting year. And then another close friend. So it's been an interesting year. But out of all of that and the break I took, it really gave me some time to reflect, to think about a lot of things. They say it's when you're in that painful state and the darkness is when you see light the best, right? When it's, if it's just dim, you can't see the light that bright. When it's in your darkest moment, the light really illuminates and you get a chance to see. If you're into introspection, which is what this is all about, it's about reflecting on your lives, right? Don't get through it, get from it. That is the motto that we have here at Personal Mastery Training. So it's been an interesting time, and I needed to step back just to reevaluate and to reflect and to heal a little bit. And so I'm still in that healing phase. There's no 6 weeks to healing or anything like that, but I'm still in that state. But my passion is still to share this journey. And I've spent 30 plus years working with people, and I see that, what they suffer from, and introspection and looking at our lives, and, not gripping life so hard that it really takes you down when things don't go your way. Life is unpredictable. It's a box of chocolates. But like my man, Dr. Tom Hill, would say to me, put the odds in your favor. We could do all the right things. Things don't work out the way they should, but we're playing odds here in life. It's unpredictable as hell. So I'm back, and the goal is to be in that stream again, that rhythm. This podcast, I've had a couple of instances where sometimes you lose your way. And if you trust in the creator, or whoever that is for you, if you trust in the universal consciousness, if you trust in the law of attraction, whatever it is that word you use to trust in that thing that makes the sun come up and go down, the moon, and us sit here in the universe, in its state, everything that makes it work that we can't explain. If you trust in that and listen to all the clues, it will guide you. And the clues came for me when a few people have come up to me and said, "Hey, I love your podcast." And that made me, so someone's listening. More people. I know I've had a few people reach out to me and so on, but it's nice to get those new listeners who come up and say, "Hey, I heard it and I really love it." I want to thank them. They know who they are. And they've, reignited the flame again. Let's say, hey, let's get back on track and let's do this. Plus a lot more coming out. I'll be raising the game, and it's all in light to serve you, to serve the listeners. Someone, one person. I'd love to serve, impact the world. That's the goal. But I focus on one person. If I can change one life, this is all worth it. All right. So if you're new here, here's our core philosophy. It's simple. We don't get through life, as I said, and challenges. We focus on how to get from it. When you master your internal world, your thoughts, your emotions, and the narratives that run behind the scenes, you win in sports, you win in business, and most importantly, you win in life. But if you're just getting through it, guess what you're going to do every time? Just get through it. No lessons learned. If you're going to suffer, if you're going to go through it, why not learn from it? That's the thing. That's why I'm going to be always here to nudge you and to remind you of how to get through this. Today, we're going to dive into a concept that will completely reframe the way you look at success, progress, and performance. I just recently came off of 3 bodybuilding contests that I've done in the calendar in 1 year, in 12 months. And I learned a lot, and always learning, but this is where it's really great. I'm almost 60 years old and I'm competing in a bodybuilding contest and doing well. I've got a few first place and seconds and the top 5, let's put it that way. And that's really taught me a lot along the way, and I'm dissecting and I'm going to share it with you. Today, we're going to dive into a concept that will completely reframe the way you look at success in business and so on. Here's the title. Here's the topic. Your ceiling is unlimited. We have so much potential. Someone's crushing it right now while someone's not. We have unlimited potential for whatever it is you want to do. So the ceiling to the stratosphere. However, it's your floor you have to raise, because the ceiling's unlimited. But where do you fall when things aren't right? Where do you fall? What is your floor? And that's what we have to talk about today. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's talk about part 1 of this. Let's talk about the illusion of high performance. Let's talk about human nature for a second. Most high achievers, entrepreneurs, and athletes obsess over their ceiling. They chase the breakthrough. We all did. We want to break through that ceiling and get to that number 1 spot. Win in anything, right? Business, wherever it is. High performers love the game. They're not all just about the win, but they love to elevate their game. They want to hit the absolute peak, that magical day when everything clicks. Focus is effortless. Energy is 100%. And you feel unstoppable. That is your ceiling. That is your ceiling right there. And don't get me wrong. Dreaming big, aiming high is essential. I do that every day. Your potential, your ceiling, is effectively unlimited. And however you want to measure it, money, success, however you measure it, it's unlimited. Because as you get to one level, you realize there's another level. There's another level. That's one thing in this bodybuilding that I realized. Once I lost some weight, I had a basic do this to distract myself with everything going on in my life. I needed order. It provided it. But every time I did one contest, I realized, oh, there's another level I could go down in how I'm conditioning my body, how I'm showing up, how bigger can I get, how leaner can I get. There's another level, there's another level, there's another level. And doing it safely. So the real problem is not hitting those ceilings. That's a relentless pursuit. The real problem is this. What happens on your worst day? What happens when you wake up tired? What happens when a business deal falls through, an argument breaks out at home, or life throws you an unexpected obstacle? And as I said about me, never would have dreamt of losing my son that early, or at all. So, but life, I always say this, you're co-creating your life. There's a part of life that's unpredictable. It's designed that way. But you're co-creating. There's some things you can do something about, but you have to be intentional. But you also have to be ready when it doesn't go your way. When it doesn't go your way. That is your floor. Your floor is your baseline standard. It represents the habits, emotional control, discipline, and routines you fall back on when inspiration dries up, conditions are far from ideal. All right, here's the thing about champions. Champions focus on the floor, that base. Amateurs rely on motivation. Professionals rely on standards. What are your standards? I can tell by the way you show up in your daily habits. If your ceiling is 10 out of 10, but your floor is 2 out of 10. You're living on an emotional and behavioral roller coaster. Here's the thing, on bad days, you drop the ball, you skip the training, you react to frustration, you break promises to yourself, and you let negative narratives take over your mindset. Personal mastery is about you tightening that gap. When you raise your floor from 2 to, let's say, to a 6, and eventually to an 8, when you level it up, even on your hardest days, you don't self-sabotage. Even when you don't feel like showing up, your non-negotiables get done. Your worst performance still looks like high-level execution to the outside world. When you raise the floor, the ceiling naturally lifts on its own. So how do we do this? Let me give you 3 steps to raise your floor. How do you practically put this into action? Talk is cheap, right? Here are 3 fundamental shifts to start raising your baseline. 1, define your non-negotiables. Stop setting standards based on ideal scenarios. Ask yourself, when everything's falling apart, what are the 2 or 3 baseline things I must execute to protect my physical, mental, and emotional health? It could be 20 minutes of movement, journaling your thoughts, or drinking enough water. That will make your floor unbreakable. For me, it's the gym. People think I go to the gym for addiction or addiction to working out or what. No, some people get up every day and they have to have their coffee. They have to do this. They have to do these habits. Listen to, I don't know what they do. But mine, I call it putting on my suit of armor. When I get to that gym, I'm by myself, my headphones on. I go internal. It's my meditation. When I feel my body getting stronger, when I feel my body lifting those weights, when I can feel it, it puts me in that right state, ready for the day. And by the way, my gym is non-negotiable. This is why, and I did a podcast about this, I think, I don't schedule my gym time during times when I may have to attend to something else that's important, like my family or a client comes in. I have a busy schedule after 9 a.m. So I'd never schedule a gym. My mornings start at 4:30. Why? Because a large percentage of the times, 99%, it's undisturbed. The only time it has been disturbed was my son. And that's fine. I found another time to get the gym in there. Because even during the time with my son in ICU, I and he understood that kept me strong and that made me stood that whole challenge. Stood strong for him, stood strong for the family. Because it's not lip service to me when I say put your mask on first. I got to fill my cup in order to give it to everyone else. So, number 1, define your non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables? Mine is, I can tell what your non-negotiable are, but let's look at your calendar and what you do every day. Mine is taking care of me, so I can take care of you, so I can show up for my family. Number 2, audit the self-narratives, the silent narratives that you do inside. When stress hits, what story do you tell yourself? Do you slip into victimhood and suffer in silence, or do you ask, what am I meant to get from this challenge? Remember, get from it, not through it. Question the stories that keep you stuck at a low baseline. Where'd you get them? Are they even yours? Are they even your narratives? Or did you hear a parent? Did you hear somebody that influenced you and it now became your narrative? Audit the silent narratives. Number 3, build systems over moods. Mood is fleeting. You know that, ups and downs, how I feel. It can be based on someone looking at you a certain way, your lack of sleep, whatever it might be. Systems, though, create consistency. Build simple, repeatable, daily practices that protect your energy so you don't rely on adrenaline or motivation to do what needs to be done. Systems. Systems will save you in business. Systems will save you in your life. Systems. You can lean on them when you feel weak. So, before we wrap up today's session, remember to like, subscribe, share. Share it with somebody who might need this message. Someone in your circle who needs to hear from me, although you've been telling them, but someone else tells them, oh, the lights go on. See, I get someone else to help my family and tell them what I want them to hear because they've heard me too many times. It plus, if when you like something and share, it helps to grow this community and get those tools in the hands of people who need them now. I want to leave you with 2 thoughts to carry this week. First, your story shifts from empowerment to empowerment when your quest for personal mastery begins. Second, as my mentor, Dr. Tom Hill, would say, and always remind me, one idea, well executed, can change your life forever. So I ask you, what one idea from this podcast did you hear that you can apply? Reflect on that. Journal on it. Raise your floor. All right. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace. Love. Soul.